Welcome back, OIG family, to another exciting episode in our AMA series where we sit down with incredible projects and ask all the right questions. Today, we have the privilege of having Chris Boundikas, the CEO of Quoth, an all-chain NFT authentication oracle. Remember, if you like the content, subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to get all the latest updates with everything that has to do with cryptocurrencies and OIG. Enjoy. Okay, Chris, so welcome to the show. Could you tell us a little more about yourself and how you came to be involved with Quoth?
Yeah, no problem. Quoth has been an evolving project, but about a year ago, I went to a incubator called LedgerLink Labs, run by Nick, and they helped us cultivate relationships with VCs and our tech team that can build out our product. And we've been building for the last 6 months, and the idea kind of stemmed from a while back, but as of lately, obviously the NFT craze, and I saw the vision of NFTs not only going from crypto art but into the real world, such as manufacturing, documents, and real estate. And there's just no protocol, there's no infrastructure in place to handle such a growing market. And NFTs are extremely hot, and the real world is now starting to adopt. And we are here to set the infrastructure in place for authentication and Google-like search. And that's kind of how it came to be.
Yeah, no, that's it's good that you mentioned the infrastructure. There's definitely a need. I mean, the space is still very, very young. So I guess that kind of answers a little bit of my second question, which is, why do you think there is a need for Quoth? Could you go into a little more detail of, what void you're trying to fill?
The NFT space is a very, it's got some issues right now, and the big marketplaces are just not really doing anything to mitigate these issues, such as scams, fake NFTs, duplicates. It is a growing problem, and it's just only going to get worse and worse and worse. So, what our authenticator does is it authenticates the originality of anything that is listed on a marketplace. So we are fixing the newbie kind of scam problem where you go onto, say, OpenSea or LooksRare or any of the other marketplaces, Rarible, and you want to buy an NFT. If you're not a crypto NFT degen, it's going to be very difficult for you to figure out if this thing that you're about to buy for $5 or $50,000 is real. And if you don't know how to do the research on that, you're putting your capital at risk. So we are building one suite of our product is that on the fly you can pull down, and for a very nominal cost, figure out if this thing is 100% original or not. So picture a Chrome extension like MetaMask. So you'll pull this down, you'll pay your, whatever it may be, 50 cents, and instantly it'll tell you if it's 100% original. If it's not, it'll list out all the NFTs that kind of match it. And if you see that there's a match, you better be careful of what you're buying, because it could be a fake. So that's kind of one of the the APIs that we're running.
That definitely appeals to the masses, because one of the biggest struggles for onboarding people onto the crypto, let's say, universe, is the research side. And I see a lot of platforms that have the abbreviation of "do your own research," because there are so many scams. So having an authenticator is key, not only for onboarding new potential clients and participants, but also for just validating that you have something real on your hands. So that's an impressive feature. Could you explain some more features that Quoth would provide to differentiate itself from the competition?
Yeah, no problem. First off, there is no competition. There is no search index. It's a fragmented market of just marketplaces. You have some other stuff like rarity tools, snipers, and it's just the data is just spread out, and you have to go out and, figure out what to look for. And as a, even an intermediate NFT enthusiast, that's a daunting task. It is not easy. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Reddit. You're going to go to Telegram groups. I mean, yeah, half of these things are full of scams and scammers anyway that post links. And so it's a daunting task. So what we're doing is we're simplifying NFTs. You can log in and search for any NFT in existence with semantic search, meaning just as you would with Google, you just type anything you want into our search bar, such as I'm looking for a ape NFT with a blue hat. And if it exists out there, it'll pull it up at the top of the search result. If it doesn't, it'll give you the closest matches of what our artificial intelligence will show as a search result. So that's the first step. Is people want to kind of search for NFTs, but they just don't know where. So this is the onboarding new quote newbies into the space. This tool will be very easy for them to search. The second one is the authentication tool. So, man, I found this NFT on your site. That's great. But if it's a fraud or if it's a scam, what's the point? So we've gone, one step further to say, this is real. It's okay to buy. You're not going to get scammed. And then thirdly, we're doing a bridge. So it's a multi-chain bridge. And, even for new NFT collections, we're hearing this often, is that they don't want to go they don't want to go cross-chain, they want to go multi-chain. And it's key on Mint because that allows everything to be dispersed on every chain immediately. And it's a lot easier for people to find it. Some people don't want to pay Ethereum fees and gas and this and stuff. So they could find it on Phantom and buy it on Phantom. So that's kind of our bridge down the line. But the first two are our main products on MVP that we want to definitely have people, try and utilize.
I mean, you mentioned it already about the amount of fakes that are in the market. It's really hard to really differentiate between the fakes and the real NFTs. So having that validation and having that, almost as if a stamp of approval, it's key. My next question is more in regards to the Quoth token. So what kind of utility will that provide to the project?
So yeah, Quoth token utility. Everybody could have the best token in the world, but if nobody's going to use it, then what's the point? It's not really a utility token. So our tech team and our team in general have been around the block. We've been here for years and years, and we realized if we're not going to be offering a utility token, then we don't need a token at all. But in this case, we do. So we have artificial intelligence. And if you're new to artificial intelligence, what this means is a lot of data needs to be run through machine learning before it can actually have any meaningful output into a user's hands. So we have kind of infused our machine learning with our token for a first utility. So we have neural nets that need to be trained in order to help the APIs, get more accurate data. And with that, we onboard communities. So for example, to train our neural nets a little bit easier, we have already started to onboard NFT collections. So let's take SupDucks, for example. SupDucks is a partner of ours and an amazing collection, amazing art. And they're actually going to be launching a game shortly as well through their collection. So what that means is we can actually access their community because their community knows those art pieces better than anybody. So we actually say, okay, if you guys want to earn some Quoth token for rewards, we need you to go through a bunch of CAPTCHA exercises in order to train our neural nets and our machine learning. So our search results become that much more accurate. So as users start to go through our training of the neural nets, it becomes gamified. You know, they're helping really detail some of these NFT collections in advanced detail. Like, you know, if you take Fluff World, for example, I've got a Fluff bunny up here if you haven't noticed, hint hint. And if you take Fluff World NFTs, they have dynamic backgrounds, meaning you change the background of the NFT that you have. So if, you know, and that metadata changes all the time, and our AI has to, you know, tell the users as they're searching that is the real NFT now. A lot of the tools like rarity tools don't change on the fly. Once it's set, they forget it, and you have to pay them again to update that information. With us, it's on the fly, and it gives a more of a accurate search. So if you're searching for blue bunny with Lambo background, which there's lots of fluffs with this blue Lambo in the background, you'll be able to find it. But as those backgrounds change, if our neural nets don't process that information, the NFT won't be the same on the search. So it's a fairly dynamic tool that we're onboarding communities with, and specifically NFT collections, as we are an NFT authenticator. So it ties in a lot of the big NFT collections into our token utility. You know, we also have rewards for running on-chain oracles used to serve our API endpoints, and also rewards for our bridge, you know, staking. And so if to kind of correlate it, if you're familiar with Chainlink or the graph, that type of model, we are very similar in those data oracles for token utility.
Interesting. And I didn't even know that you could change the background of that NFT you got there. Is there a story behind that NFT?
It's you know, Fluff World is a, you know, they got a lot of attention. They got Snoop Dogg. They got it's a 3D rendered. The art is, you know, is amazing, but it's also virtual, and they have their own metaverse. So Fluff World is a, you know, I don't know what the floor is today, but, you know, call it 4 or 5 ETH. It's a, you know, that's a good floor, and it's starting to rise. So yeah, it's this is one of the more pricier NFTs. We got a one of only, I believe, 36 green Grinches, and this one's a female. And as crazy as this sounds, imagine two adults having this conversation right now. As crazy as this sounds, you can breed the females.
No way.
And more NFTs and utility will come from that. So if you're looking for utility in NFTs, specifically in the Fluff World, you know, collection, females come with a reproductive utility. So it's kind of a cool thing.
No, that's really cool. And you know, I love the fact that you mentioned the AI also recognizes not only static information, but you know, information that changes, such as like the background, to have it validated still to be a real NFT even after a piece of information has been changed. That's I don't know anybody else that's doing that at all. So you've touched on the fundamental infrastructure that will provide aid to the space right now, but how can people earn by using Quoth?
Yeah, so again, we are going to be having a lot of utility with the NFT collections and their community, and they can earn Quoth token by doing neural net research and verification, and that just trains our AI to be more accurate. You know, as a search engine, you know, if you look back in 1995, you know, Yahoo, well, Netscape and Yahoo, you know, were the pioneers in some of the search, but it still wasn't, you know, what you were really looking for. Then Google came along and changed the whole script. So, you know, we're doing something extremely similar. We are really pioneering search in this field, and there is no competition. We actually don't know another company that's doing this, and we are 6 months ahead. And we've also infused it, obviously, with AI, which is an incredibly difficult task for anybody. It's a big barrier to entry. So we've kind of put up the walls. I think we're going to be well established before really any competition kind of comes behind us, and we should be trailblazing this movement of index and authentication and NFT infrastructure.
No, definitely. And, this is a very ambitious project with the aims you will, I mean, you'll need a talented team to bring your goals to fruition. So I guess my next question would be, can you tell us a little bit about your core team's experience and qualifications?
No problem. Myself, again, I've been in the blockchain space for since Bitcoin was an infant in month one. I've been through it all. Mount Gox. I've run mining facilities. I've helped a government in the Caribbean launch legislature for legalized ICOs before any other country did it, such as Malta. I've been my background comes from trading, so I've always kind of been a hands-on trader, and did well with the mining. So I've been in the space for quite some time. I've seen all the cycles from day one. So my guidance should be, in the management visionary side of things. Alex is our CTO. He was head of consultancy at a firm called Pixelplex, and he is, heading our team. We've got 7 full stack and Solidity devs, as well as 8 AI devs, 4 of them with PhDs. And on the AI side, they have been around for over a decade, which, it's cool to say because, the AI team is regular AI, meaning this wasn't a crypto AI team that we assembled, because there's not many out there. It's so brand new to the space. To find a crypto AI team is near impossible. Yeah. So we pulled this team in, hired full time, and the great thing is they don't have any bias. They haven't lived through these cycles. They don't care. They are strictly artificial intelligence. How do we get the data? Where do we find it? And we can spin it together. So it's a really cool team, because half the team is degen, crypto degen, Solidity, and full stack, and the other team has no clue about, anything crypto. They're just straight AI devs. For them have PhDs, and it's a dynamic team, and it's really cool to see how they're spinning this data up. We're an international team. Our CMO is out of Germany. We've got data science out of Canada. We've got our sort of designers out of Canada as well. Incubator out of Belgium. Social media kind of spread all over. I'm in the Caribbean. I moved out of Canada in 2017, and I've been offshore for 4.5 years. So it's a very diverse team, and we're constantly growing the team as well. Every month we are hiring somebody new, fresh and hungry to if they're not smarter than me and the rest of the team combined, we don't want to bring them on. So that's the kind of talent that we're looking for right now.
Right on. No, that's good to hear. And it's really great to see that, you've taken, like in regards to your AI team, they've been pulled out from their natural habitat, let's say, and brought into the crypto world, and they have a strictly objective mindset on solving a lot of the AI requirements we have in crypto. So that's very key. And it sounds like you have a very powerful team stacked. So I don't think you'll have any issues accomplishing what you've set out to do. So that brings us to our next segment, which is the Twitter questions. We've selected questions from our Twitter account from our community submitted prior to this AMA. The first one's from Elon, and it reads, Partnership is an important and impactful thing to bring in more users. With whom does Quoth currently partner? What benefits does Quoth get from these partnerships and vice versa?
Great question. Every project, is the foundation of it is their partners. You can't do it alone. And we have been assembling a great partnership with a lot of key players. In the NFT space, we're onboarding NFT collections on a daily basis now. And we're offering them the chance for free marketing. And in return, we get, access to share our product with their community. And they can train our neural nets and get rewarded in Quoth token. So, as an NFT, data aggregator, NFT collections are everything to us. So we're going after, every one of them. Doesn't matter how big and small you are. We would like to chat with you because, we have something that your users can use to, better search your offering. If you got 10,000 NFTs, it's not easy to get through them all, even with a filter. You might miss one or something. So the search on that can become more dynamic. And, outside of crypto is where everybody really kind of gets mystified. And in the NFT space, we are already trailblazing partnerships outside of crypto. We are an infrastructure play. It's great to be playing in the sandbox, so to speak, no pun intended, but it's NFTs are going to be real world utility, and colorful JPEGs and stuff right now is cool, and it's great, but NFTs are going to be just that much bigger. So we've actually partnered, I can't say the name, with one of the largest 3D printing manufacturers in the world. They've got over 150,000 locations, and they've kind of taken all their blueprints and diagrams and stuff into NFTs. But they needed authenticated, and there was no copyright, type of person in the real world. So they had to turn to somebody who's actually doing this, and we're pretty much the only ones. So real world utility is coming. Within the next 2 years, it's going to be the norm. You will interact with NFTs on a daily basis on your phone. It's just what it's going to be. So partners are everything, and we're always reaching out. We're always looking for more, partners. It's what we do. I mean, without the partners, you got no utility, you got no, viewership, and your project and token will eventually disappear. It's no difference than any other, startup business in the real world. That's why 90+% of all, startups fail within the first 3 to 5 years. There's just no utility, So yeah, we're partnering on an ongoing basis.
That's really impressive. I think that 3D printing is the bridge between the virtual world and the physical world, especially with regards to NFTs. I see a whole market that's untapped. Even just from making toys for kids from NFTs that they buy online. And I completely agree. In the next 2 years, it'll definitely be the norm. But great answer. So we'll go on to our second question here, which comes from Lorella. And she asks, how will Quoth AI value its community? And what are the ways that Quoth can build a strong and supportive community for its long-term success? And how many communities does Quoth currently have for its non-English users?
Yeah, great question. Community is everything. It's transparency. That's why all of our tokenomics are fully transparent from day one. They cannot be changed. There's a lot of projects out there that do not adhere to their tokenomics, and if you want to nuke a project and your community, start not delivering on your tokenomics model. That'll just destroy you. So we set up our tokenomics expert set this up for us perfectly, with the utility of our token plus the emissions, and we came up with a really, really cool tokenomics. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but there is one segment in there that kind of is. 25% of our entire circulation is locked for 18 months. So it's called the Strategic Reserve Fund. You'll see it on our light paper or in our tokenomics model. So that's kind of a cool thing. A lot of people look that over, but you shouldn't, because you're now only playing with 75% of the circulation. That makes the token just that much more rare in the first couple of years. But back to the community question, we stick to our tokenomics. We're building communities everywhere. So we've got KOLs everywhere. We have an English Telegram channel. We also have a Mandarin and Korean already, and moderators for that. NFT collections live in Discord. We're actually going to be opening up our Discord within about a week to start to onboard a lot of the NFT collections, because they just don't live on Telegram. So it's a funny thing. So we're opening up that market for communication, and we're pretty much on every social. So if you want to have our community on Facebook, we're on Facebook, which some crypto companies don't do that. We're on Instagram, Medium, big Twitter. Obviously, crypto lives on Twitter, and a couple other places. So we're kind of spread everywhere, building communities and building different languages. As we grow into Vietnam, Turkey, Russia, eventually we'll have our own groups set up in Telegram specifically for those languages and territories. So that's kind of how we plan to grow the community and keep them around, and just make sure that our tokenomic model is adhered to, because that's the number one thing we hear back from consultancy is you sway on those tokenomics, you're in big trouble, because people just think the devs are dumping, or the devs are minting and dumping, and it just creates a very, very bad optics. So we will definitely adhere to that and have transparency around that with locked vaults and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, transparency is definitely key, and it's good to see that you value community. And for our audience watching, if you want to join Quoth's community, all the links will be in the description. You can definitely check them out after the show. But great answer. So we move on to the last question that we pulled from Twitter. This comes from Don8888. What is the current progress of the project? What have you achieved in the market? What is the next Quoth development plan and layout?
First off, we're trailblazing. So nobody's ever done this. This is not a copycat project. So we are building this from the ground up. There's nothing really to go on. So, that being said, we're original, and we're doing, this is all custom code, custom AI and machine learning. So not something easy, but obviously we've got the size of the team to pull this off, and we're doing well. We should have what's called a beta MVP a few days after our IDO. IDO is February 23rd with listing date. So we will have a kind of a curated beta model that will be for specific NFT collection communities to try our search and start to test those neural nets. That will continue for about a week or two, and then the full MVP should be opened up for the public use on the search side, shortly after that. So product is 98% ready. We are now just in neural net training mode, and for the search side, we're looking real good right now.
That's great to hear. So that ends off our Twitter questions segment. We'll move on to our last question, and that's just, what do you have coming up in the near future? What does the roadmap look like for Quoth for the rest of the year?
So we're building an NFT protocol, and as easy as it sounds to just type in a couple words into a search bar and a bunch of colorful JPEGs show up, it's obviously not that easy. Google wasn't fully functional for a couple of years, right? And it's ever evolving. NFTs are ever evolving. You know, the space is fast. So, you know, we have a very dynamic team that can pivot fast, and we are adding bells and whistles all the time. So, you know, this won't be on launch, but you know, think about this for a second. We can add curated and optimized buying options for marketplaces, and it's easy because once a user connects with our wallet, we can peer in and see what NFTs they hold. And you know, if they have 10 blue Lambos, for example, you know, we can suggest, just as eBay or Amazon or you know, any other kind of ecom, big ecom does, say, hey man, I mean, you like blue Lambos, so we were going to show you more blue Lambos because you may like that, and you may want to purchase these NFTs that we suggest that you may like. So there's a lot of bells and whistles, and if any marketplace is listening to this right now, that's huge for marketplaces, because we are giving suggestive artificial intelligence to buyers that will possibly create more sales for marketplace platforms. And it's not a bad thing because the user gets what they want. They're not just buying any random, you know, any random NFT. They're actually looking at stuff that they might want, and it's a win-win for everybody. So those are just that's just a small minuscule of some of the bells and whistles that will be added on a, you know, a weekly, monthly basis. Just as how Google kind of started with search and then added, you know, AdWords and maps and all that stuff. We're doing a similar approach. Another really cool feature, and I think, you know, not a lot of people know this. It's not in our light paper. It's actually really not anywhere. Is staking for advertising. Projects always have a liquidity problem if you're not a big, you know, big out of the gates, right? And we've combated this with token utility. So listen to how cool this is. If you are an NFT collection, or let's just say you're an artist and you want somebody to buy your NFT, well, you need to advertise it. Stuff's just not going to fall in your lap. It could, but 99% of the time, you got to get out there. You got to advertise. Well, we're creating an AdWords model. It's a hybrid model. You can pay us to advertise, which you know, on certain key keywords, your NFT could come up on the side or the top, and it's for sale on, you know, OpenSea or wherever. Or you could get even higher search rankings by staking our token LP. So if you buy Quoth token and stake it in our LP, we will know that because we'll see it in your wallet. And if you are an advertiser, your advertisements will show up higher than anyone else. So it's a really cool token utility that not a lot of people are doing, but it adds a lot of liquidity to our pool. It adds, you know, it gets the advertiser in front of more people to try to get more eyeballs on their NFTs. And again, everybody kind of wins.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the cool stuff that we're coming down the roadmap. And you know, the bridging, the multi-chain bridging is going to be one of the last items on the roadmap, because that's one of the hardest. But yeah, that's kind of the update on that.
That's genius. I think that's a really great feature. Again, same as almost all the other features you've mentioned, and not something that I've seen in the market. So that's really cool. What would you say is your favorite thing on your roadmap? Because it sounds like you have a lot of really cool stuff coming up.
You know, I really want to get the search and the neural nets spun up. You know, without searching accurately, our product isn't as attractive. So the more NFT collections we get, the more community you get, the more training, the more advanced training we can get. Our own AI is already spinning up the data sets on the on-chain NFTs right now, right? We've already captured all those. They're doing their own, but you need humans to train those machines in order to be smarter, and then it starts to work on its own. So I'd say, you know, onboarding NFT collections, is fun because we're getting in touch with some of the brightest talent out there. We get their marketing arm, they get our marketing arm. Their community loves it because they're basically researching their own NFTs that they've already been looking at for a year or a month or a day, and they're getting paid to help, increase the searchability of that NFT. And if you're an NFT holder of, let's say, Fluff World or Subducks, and you hear this, you're thinking, okay, well, if I make this easier for people around the world to search for Subducks, then more Subducks will be sold.
Of course.
As a holder, I want more Subducks sold because the floor raises, it becomes rarer, it's more demand. So it's a win-win for everybody. I really am excited about that part, to get into communities and really collaborate. And then just all the other stuff is, bells and whistles and stuff. But we're really just working on building the community, getting the name out, and making sure our product is actually, usable. It's the main thing we see with project launches. Greatest idea in the world, but it takes too long to get out.
Yeah.
The community loses momentum, and then nobody uses it. It could be the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
But if nobody's using it, it's just, it's not good. So, we plan on continuously engaging in NFT collections all the time, bringing them on, and eventually, we should be an NFT springboard launchpad that can really help new mints get out there. So I'm dropping a lot of information that's not out there right now. But this is, I guess, that's what these are for, and listeners obviously get rewarded for listening to stuff like this. So
for sure. I mean, like, again, thank you for all the exclusive content, obviously, that you can't catch anywhere else other than OIG. And it's you hit the nail on the head when we see so many projects coming out with such ambitious goals, but it seems like you have all the necessary tools and infrastructure at your disposal to really make this work. And you do have a plan. You value community, transparency. These are all fundamental things that the community loves, and the investors as well. So I see a lot of great things up ahead for Quoth. I'm excited because I've never heard something like this, and I would use it. I feel like this is something that the market needs, the space needs, absolutely. Almost as if it's the Google of crypto, NFTs at least. And who knows where it can go from there. So really great hearing all this from you, Chris. Where could our viewers find more of you? Could you give us a list of some socials?
Yeah, we've got Twitter. I'm on Twitter. Team is on Twitter. D5 Lad is our NFT specialist, so he is on Twitter. We live on Twitter. Obviously Telegram as well, but community is mainly in Telegram. I'm sure Discord is about to get filled up when we open that up. Our website, quoth.ai. If you go to the team, you can find all of our handles there on Twitter. If we're not on Twitter, probably LinkedIn, and get a hold of us. If you're an NFT collection listening to this, just reach out in Twitter or wherever. Just get a hold of us, and let's try to collaborate and see what we can do for you.
Really great stuff today, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was an honor speaking to you about Quoth.
OIG in the house. Hopefully I can be on again. See you guys.
We'll see you soon. Well, OIG family, that wraps up our AMA for today. Make sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell notification button if you'd like to stay up to date with all the latest news coming out from OIG. Until next time, see you soon.